Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK and SportsNetUSA.net. I'm Noah Alvarez, and I'll be joined alongside Ryan Osborne and Mark Pavlovich later on the show as your Fullerton Hornets suffered a 33-30 loss last weekend against Southwestern. It was the Hornets' first overtime game since 2015, and the loss brings them to 2-2 on the 2019 season. Fullerton College will look to right the ship as they take on the Pirates of Ventura College this Saturday. That game will kick off at 6 p.m. Ventura enters this game 3-1 on the year and once held the number one spot in the California State Rankings poll. That was before a loss to Saddleback College back in week 2, but after back-to-back victories, the Pirates have worked their way back up to the 5th spot in the California State Rankings. If you remember last year, Fullerton had a fourth quarter comeback victory over Ventura late in the fourth quarter, as the Pirates will look to get their revenge on the Hornets this weekend. On this week's show, we'll be talking with Fullerton College head coach Garrett Campbell, along with running back Lucky Avenger, who scored a big touchdown in last week's game against Southwestern, and linebacker Larry Turner, all asking questions in regards to last week's loss versus Southwestern, but also to preview the matchup ahead against Ventura College. Hi, I'm here with Fullerton College head coach Garrett Campbell. Coach, I wanted to take a look back at last week, and what's the toughest part about playing in a double overtime game?
Quite honestly, the number of plays. We had about almost close to 270 plays in that game, and that's a lot of plays. Just a lot of wear and tear on the body for our guys. They did a great job, and they played their hearts out, but it's just a lot of wear and tear. It's just extra plays that we normally play. I know the fans love, hey, extra football, but the truth is it's a little more of a grind for the guys.
It seemed like in the first quarter your offense got to a quick start. Third and fourth drive, you guys were able to put up some points, but then went scoreless for a while till midway through the fourth quarter. What were some of the things that Southwestern defense was doing to stop down your offense?
Well, it wasn't midway through the fourth quarter. It was under 3 minutes. Well, I'll tell you what. First and foremost, we dropped passes. We had guys that were open. We were hitting hands, and guys dropped passes. So, it doesn't matter what offense you run. It doesn't matter what they do on defense. If you don't convert those into catches and move the chains and get first downs, it doesn't really matter. They were doing some things that I thought we had a pretty good schematic attack against them, and they made some adjustments, and we made some adjustments. I mean, there was a lot of point-counterpoint going on there in terms of the chess match of the game. But I wouldn't really say it was coaching as much as whether me be on the offensive side of the ball or their defense. I think it had more to do with the players at times playing higher and lower than their opponent at the time.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the game time and the weather had anything to do with the lack of drops or the drops in last week's game?
No.
Okay.
I've coached in way worse conditions, and the only condition that's really, really bad, I think, to coach in would be wind over 18 miles an hour. That's about it. I've coached in games in the snow. I've coached in games in the rain, and really the only thing that's really affected a team, at least that I've coached, has been wind over 18 miles an hour.
When looking at the quarterback position last weekend, due to a lot of the drops, they finished with a completion percentage before 40% combined. What has to get better with the quarterback position group going forward?
Well, I'll tell you what. And that's the deceiving thing about that stat. You can't just look at a stat and say, well, how do you play? And what was the percentage? It was right under 50%, right?
40,
yeah, under 40%. And you can't look at that. You had 7 drops into that, and then he had a number of throwaways, and where he didn't take a sack, things like that. So to be honest with you, I actually thought Quinn and Cooper, for that matter, but especially Quinn, played an excellent game. When you look at how a quarterback operates an offense, all he can do is one thing, and that's throw it. Unfortunately, there's not an asterisk in the stat column for drop passes, but it is what it is. And but I always think there's room to improve, and he's a heck of a player. I think at times his feet got a little skittish, it got out from under him, and a couple balls sailed. But that's something we've continued to work on, and we'll keep getting better.
I wanted to ask about the penalties. 13 penalties in last weekend's game, double-digit penalties in each of the 4 Hornets games this year. How do you limit those going forward this season?
I'm not allowed to talk about the referees, am I? That's not like NFL. You get fined for this. I don't think they can fine me at this level together. Okay. No, I'll tell you this. Here's what I'll tell you. Some of it's within our control. Some of them are kind of self-inflicted penalties. There was a couple of them. There was one in particular that cost us about 40 yards in field position. We had a guy pinned. We had their punt return player pinned on the 2-yard line, and it brought it all the way back out to I think it was about the 40, 45-yard line, something like that. So there's those penalties. There's just typical when you play hard and you play fast and you play violent, you're going to get penalties. It's just going to happen. The question is, can you limit those self-inflicted penalties? And that's where I think a couple times we didn't do a good job with that. But I don't know that being a high penalized team is always a bad thing. We've won a lot of games around here, and we were always out penalized or over penalized compared to our opponents.
Looking ahead to Ventura College, what is something that they do different defensively than some of the other opponents Fullerton has faced this year?
Actually, schematic-wise, they're very similar with some of the things that they do. So we're going to be able to kind of do some of the things that we've done before and attack them. But I think they've got good personnel. I think they play great man-to-man defense, and I think it's just kind of one of those things that you got to come out and ready to play. And it's not going to be a scheme issue. It's going to be kind of a heart and tenacity for 60 minutes kind of issue.
Speaking of heart tenacity, who or which position group really has to step up in order for your team to come out victorious?
So I think there's two in particular. I think first of all, maybe three, I guess. So offensively, you're looking at the O-line. I think they've got to do a great job. I also think the receivers have to step up and make some of the catches that they didn't quite make last week. I think defensively, I think our linebackers need to step up and make some of the tackles that maybe we didn't make last year. We didn't quite execute on those. But I think those three position groups, if they handle their business, I think we'll be okay.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. Best of luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm here with Fullerton College running back Lucky Avenger. And Lucky, I wanted to ask you about your touchdown. Ties the game up in the fourth quarter. First touchdown, too, since the first week against Golden West. What did that touchdown mean for you?
Well, it meant a lot. I was just coming out for my team. It was 4th and 2. I knew I had to get the first down. So it's crazy because before the play started, I told myself to believe in myself, believe in my team. I just went out there and broke it for a long one.
So the first two games, Fullerton noticeably struggled to get the ground game going. And then those last two games, they've had 150 yards plus on the ground. What really sparked that new life into the offense, especially in the running game?
I think we got a lot of work and practice. The 2 weeks leading up to this game right here, we put in a lot of work. We fixed a lot of errors. So then we just came and put it all together on that Saturday and made it happen.
So it's week 4 now. We're almost at the halfway point of the season. What are some areas that you are proud of yourself and then areas that you still want to see yourself grow in?
I feel like I'm not proud of myself right now, to be honest. I'm really hard on myself most of the time. There's always room for improvement every week, day in and day out. My quote that I tell myself every day, be better than yesterday, because it's a brand new day. So learn from your mistakes and move on each and every day.
All right, so looking ahead at Ventura College, what are some weaknesses on their defense that you guys got to exploit in order to come out with the victory?
We just got to come out there strong, practice how we play. We've been having a great practice this week so far, so we just got to come out there and pound them from day one, play one. That's it. That's really it. Come out there hard, ready to go.
And when you see a team like Ventura, they give up 151 yards on the ground this season, just averaging. Does that get you a little bit more excited to run the ball?
Of course. That gets me very excited. Puts a smile on my face because I'm ready to go. And the lineman seems ready. They got it together since week 1. They're doing a lot better, so just excited to get out there on Saturday and play.
Yeah, last question. Just talk about the lineman growth, the offensive line's growth over the course of this season.
Well, it started out slow. I was here last year, so it was a little different. But every year is different. So, we're working with a new group of guys. But as you can see, we improved a lot from week 1. So, and it only goes up from here. We're getting a lot better each and every day at practice, every week. So I think we're going to do good. It's going to get better from here on out.
I appreciate your time. Best of luck this Saturday, Lucky.
Appreciate you, bro.
I'm here with Fullerton College linebacker Larry Turner. And Larry, I wanted to ask you last week's performance against Southwestern, a lot of missed tackles, and it was raining too. So I got to ask, did the weather have anything to do with the lack of missed tackles on the Fullerton side?
No, man. We came out, we played speed and violent, but we didn't play with it longer. We didn't come out disciplined. We came out with the big heads, We just didn't do what was expected us to do, man. We didn't play Hornets football. And we paid for it. Missed tackles, man, it's part of football, but, that's why we're here. We're practicing harder than we ever did, and we're just trying to bounce back, man. That's all it is.
Looking at Southwestern's quarterback and the running back, Keelan Chapman and Joshua Owen, was there anything that caught you guys off guard that you guys weren't prepared for?
Oh no, man, it's football. You know, people make adjustments, and you just got to make adjustments along with them. And we did that, man. We was able to get 3 and outs when needed. We was able to step up, but like I said, we didn't play with speed and violence longer than them, and like I said, we paid for it.
Speaking of adjustments, I noticed you guys blitzed a lot, especially in the second half too. Was that the game plan going in, or was that adjustment made mid-game?
Oh no, man, that's Hornet football, man. We coming out to everybody. You know, we want to put our foots on their throats early, and we want to make a statement early in the game, let you know we're gonna be here, and it's gonna be a long game for you. That's just what we do, man. Yeah.
Looking ahead at Week 5 against Ventura College, what are some strengths of their offense that you guys really need to key in on?
Oh man, them guys are talented on the ball. You know, we just got to come in and snatch that confidence away from them because they're very confident, and we just got to come in and play Hornet football, man. That's it. We got to come in and play discipline, focus, ready to go, and honestly, man, just ball out. You know, so yeah, man, they talented all across the ball. Quarterback can throw it, he can run it, he can pitch it. Running backs can run it. They well coached. It's gonna be a good game, man. But you know, we're just gonna play Hornet football, do what we do best.
So 0 sacks and 0 turnovers last weekend against Southwestern. What do you guys got to do differently to get those sacks and those turnovers this week against Ventura?
Man, we got to come out, like I said, discipline, playing Hornet football, and that's everything we practice on. Turnovers, getting that ball out, wrapping up, running our feet, everything we do, you know, we do it here, and we just got to come out doing that in the game. That's why we practice it so much. Coach preaches it. We just got to come out play Hornet football with speed and violence longer, man. Simple.
I appreciate your time. Best of luck this Saturday, Larry.
Appreciate it.
Now I'll be passing it over to Ryan Osborne, who will be going over the big matchups this weekend in the CCCAA.
Thank you very much. Now, as we take a look at Northern California and Southern California and how the results played out this last Saturday. We start off in Northern California at San Francisco, where the San Francisco City College Rams would be taking on the Butte Roadrunners. Now, Butte was coming into this one with a 1-2 record. However, they had played 2 of the top 10 teams in the state to garner their 2 losses. San Francisco, on the other side, they were coming in at 3-0, undefeated record going against Butte. And things started off with Avery McCuag, who had himself a 5-yard touchdown run to make it 7-0 on the very first drive of the afternoon. Then Butte was able to force a safety with 5:33 left to go in the first quarter. San Francisco got the ball back off of a Butte turnover, and Anthony Hurd capped off a 6-play, 37-yard drive with 2:33 left in the first quarter to make it 9-7. So San Francisco was within 2. Now that score by Anthony Hurd started off 5 straight scores by San Francisco, which none would be replied to by Butte. In the second quarter, with 11:49 left to go, Anthony Hurd, again a 2-yard touchdown run, this time to the right side of the end zone, capped off an 8-play, 40-yard drive. Then San Francisco, with 3:44 left in the second, had a Christian Williams 4-yard pass from Ethan Bullock to make it 21-9. They would expand that to a 28-9 lead with 2:12 left to go in the second quarter. Entering the third, neither team was able to get themselves on the board until the final minute. Kendon Robinson with a 25-yard pass from Ethan Bullock, and they were on the board again. The Rams extending their lead to 35-9 before the fourth quarter even started. Butte tried to bring back a little bit of a comeback as they ended up with LeVar C., who got a 15-yard fumble recovery into the end zone for a touchdown to make it 35-17. So the defense for Butte started to pick up a little bit more in the fourth quarter. Just about 3:45 later, Riley Podhas got himself a 34-yard touchdown pass from Kyle Lindquist to finish off the scoring, 35-24 the final. San Francisco scoring 21 points in the second quarter. That's what really led them to their victory. They stunned Butte in the second period of play. Now you go to the first down statistics. 30 for San Francisco, 14 for Butte, 13 passing, 12 rushing. They even things out, did the Rams, on Saturday. On the other side with Butte, 14 first downs, 313 total yards of offense, only 114 in the air. Their rushing game was pretty good, 199 yards in total. But again, 114 is not going to get it done against San Francisco. City College of San Francisco, 419 overall yards, 230 in the air, 189 on the ground. So they weren't too bad there as well. You look at Kyle Lindquist, who led the way at the quarterbacking position for Butte, 9 of 24 for 114 yards total, a long of 34 with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. San Francisco's Ethan Bullock went 20 of 30, so exactly 66.7%, 230 yards, long of 45, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Avery McCuag had himself 17 attempts, 158, long of 29 with 1 touchdown. Anthony Hurd for San Francisco, 15 attempts for 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was joined by Jamar Julian Jr. and DeMonte Alim, who both had a combined around 101 yards, as they each had a long of 21 and 13 yards, respectively. In the air, that went to San Francisco. Ezra Grace, 6 receptions for 87 yards, no touchdowns, but he did have a long of 45. Kendon Robinson Jr. had 3 receptions for 67. When you look at Butte, Tariq Glenn had 4 receptions for 47 yards, a long of 21. Riley Podhast with that fourth quarter touchdown reception. He had 1 reception for 34 yards. But again, the air game didn't work all too well for Butte on Saturday against San Francisco, and the City College of San Francisco would walk away with the victory. We move now to San Mateo and Fresno City, where San Mateo finished off Fresno City. It was no question. Both of these two teams ended up, or actually started off the game undefeated at 3-0. San Mateo in the second quarter asserted their dominance. They had 14 points, 2 touchdowns. Darrell Page with a 1-yard touchdown run. Mason Starling had a 7-yard touchdown reception from Luke Bottery, and that would prove to be the winning quarter for San Mateo, because the entire way, Fresno City only scored 3 points. San Mateo did get a 25-yard field goal. That was in the fourth, but by then the game was already decided, as San Mateo would go home with the victory over top of Fresno City. Now, when you look at the offensive statistics for both of these two sides, San Mateo didn't even look all too great on offense, or at least all too outstanding on offense. 281 total yards of offense, 184 in the air, 97 on the ground. They didn't even eclipse 100 yards rushing the football, and they still came away with the win. Luke Bottery finished 12 of 18 for 184 yards. He had 1 touchdown and 1 interception. When you look at Fresno City, Jonah Johnson, 17 of 35, just about 50% for 200 yards and a long of 53, no touchdowns, no picks. Rushing attempts, Darrell Page, 20 attempts for 59 yards, averaging just about 3 per carry. He had 1 touchdown. On the other side, it was Novik Johnson, who had 8 attempts for 59 yards and a long of 18. So, San Mateo with the victory thanks to Darrell Page and Mason Starling. 14 points in the second quarter to lead them to a win. San Mateo now moves to 4-0. Fresno City now sitting at 3-1. We stay in Northern California. Yeah, it's a lot of Northern California, but really when you look at Northern California, they kind of dominated the standings in games in the early half of this season. We go to Modesto and American River in Sacramento. American River was 2-1 and trying to get back onto the winning track, as they had a loss the previous week. Modesto 3-0 going into this one, undefeated, and they are looking like the number 1 team in the nation going up against American River, who was sitting in the top 10 at the time. Well, it started off with Modesto getting on the board first. Danny Velasquez had a 44-yard touchdown pass to make it 7-0. Modesto would get a 20-yard field goal from Peter Bonin to make it 10-0. And with 3:21 left in the first quarter, Lucas Curtis got a 5-yard run, put it into the end zone, 17-0. Modesto led it after just about 12 and a half minutes being played up in Sacramento. Marco Baldacchini got a 70-yard run to bring American River just a little closer, 17-7. So after the first quarter of play, Modesto was on top by 10 points. We move over to the second quarter, and that's where this game was decided. 14 points in the second quarter for Modesto compared to none for American River. Modesto with Michael Ramos on a 1-yard touchdown run. Deshaun Alders had a 3-yard run, and Lucas Curtis had a 4-yard touchdown run. Each of those 3 drives capped off a minimum of 10-play drives for over 70 yards. The first one was 11 plays for 75, the second 10 for 85, and the third 10 plays for 71 yards. That made it 38-7, and Modesto really took a commanding lead in this one. Markel Quinney got a 9-yard reception for a touchdown to make it 38-14. Jawan Tanner, a 49-yard pass from Marco Baldacchini to make it 38-20, but by that point, the game was already gone. 1:55 left in the fourth quarter. That's when Tanner got himself his reception. But again, Modesto had already won the game by that point. Modesto with 32 first downs compared to just 18 for American River. They were excellent on third down, 12 of 17, 4 of 11 for American River. Total offense, both of these two sides nearly or just getting over 400 yards of total. 457 for Modesto on 86 total offensive plays. Modesto was just getting off offensive plays as quickly as possible. American River 394 on 60 total offensive plays. 283 in the air for Modesto, 221 for American River. Net yards rushing for Modesto, 174 and 173 for American River, as they were pretty much equal there. Now, you have to go to the turnover battle, which was significantly won by Modesto. Modesto only gave up the ball once. That was on a fumble. On the other side, American River gave the ball away 3 different times, 2 fumbles and 1 pick as well. On the other side for Modesto, their quarterback, Brett Neves, went 17 of 21 for 177 yards and 1 interception. Danny Velasquez, 5 of 7 for 106, 44 yards, and 1 touchdown pass. Marco Baldacchino, 13 of 31, 221, 2 touchdowns, as he led the way for American River, not only in the passing game, but also in the rushing game, as Marco Baldacchino finished with 14 attempts for 149 yards, a long of 70, that was for a touchdown. On the other side for Michael Ramos, 25 attempts, 120, and 1 touchdown. So that was a victory for Modesto as they take it to American River by a final score of 38-20. Modesto, the Pirates, end up with the victory. So they now stay undefeated and possibly get themselves an addition into the rankings. We'll see about that in just a couple of moments. We go to the last game on tap here on the Coaches Show, as it is Long Beach and Riverside. Both of these two teams, it should have been no contest between these two sides. Riverside was 3-0 entering this one. They were number 1 in the state. Long Beach City College was sitting at 2-1, having not looked terrific in the first 3 weeks of the season. And yet, Riverside really struggled in this one. Riverside came out very quickly in the first quarter. 14 points unanswered. In the first 12:55 of this one, they were leading it 14-0 thanks to Cameron Bosley and Mike Irwin, who both got into the end zone. Then Zion Bowens had a 14-yard touchdown reception from Tyon Harvey to make it 14-7. Long Beach from that point forward, up until 1:04 left to go in the third quarter, had 4 different scoring drives compared to Riverside's just 1. Zach Severias got a 33-yard field goal to make it 17-7, so Riverside extended to a 10-point lead, but then Long Beach with 3 straight scores. Zion Bowens, a 36-yard touchdown pass from Derek West, and then he followed it up with another touchdown pass, this time 37 yards from Tyon Harvey again. Long Beach would finish off their scoring, 1:04 left to go in the third quarter, as Julian Woodard got a 35-yard touchdown catch from Derek West as well to make it 28-17, and Long Beach was sitting pretty with an 11-point lead over top of Riverside. However, the Tigers wouldn't go away that easily. Entering the fourth quarter of play, Dylan Laurent, a 16-yard touchdown pass from Jacob Barlage to make it 28-24, and it would stay that way until the final minute of the fourth, when Riverside drove right down the field with ease. And that's when they would get another Jacob Barlage touchdown pass, as he would send it to Giovanni Sanders for the win, a 13-yard reception to finish it off at 31-28. So Riverside just barely escapes from Long Beach City College. Both of these two teams were pretty even on offense, And by that, I mean they were exactly even. 462 of total offense for both of these two sides. Mike Irwin finished 22 of 34 for 227, 1 touchdown, but 2 picks. Jacob Barlage, 18 of 30, 181, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derek West, 10 of 20. He finished 186, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And Tyon Harvey went 4 of 6 with a long of 37 and 2 touchdowns. Giovanni Sanders finished his afternoon receiving-wise with 10 receptions for 132 yards and 1 touchdown. He was followed up by Dylan Laurent, who finished with 10 receptions and 128 with 1 touchdown. You would normally think that Giovanni Sanders, with numbers like that, would get himself the Offensive Player of the Week. However, that honor would go to Zach Bowens, who finished with 6 receptions, 160 yards, and 3 touchdowns as well. So the current polls in the state of California sit with Riverside City College sitting at number 1 overall, 5 first-place votes. College of San Mateo, 4-0. They now split it with Riverside City College. They're sitting at number 2, just 3 points behind. Modesto, who had a terrific showing against American River, finishes at number 3. If you're looking for the Fullerton College Hornets, unfortunately after their last loss, they end up dropping 6 spots. They're now found at the number 18 spot, 2-2 record with 75 points in the coaches poll. Now, when you look at the CCC SIA football poll, Fullerton is sitting at number 22 overall as they drop heavily thanks to that loss to Southwestern. Looking at the Southern California National Division, Fullerton now ends up out of the top 10 for the first time in the last 2.5 years. Riverside City College, they stay at number 1. So that's going to do it for the rankings and for the recap of last week as we send it back over to Noah Alvarez, who's going to update us on soccer here in the state of California.
Thank you, Ryan. This week we'll be catching up with the women's soccer team here at Fullerton College. The Hornets were off to a hot start on the season and continued their hot play through the month of September, losing only 1 match in the month. They had 3 straight road games to kick off the month, starting with El Camino back on September 6th. Fullerton was led by their goalie Monica Balos, who made 3 saves that afternoon and kept the Warriors off the board. The Hornets scored all 3 of their goals in the second half, as freshman Jacqueline Ramirez got the scoring started in the 53rd minute. Sophomore Kayla Baserto made it 2-0 in the 73rd minute, and then freshman Rocio Martinez Marquez put the game out of reach after finding the back of the net in the 87th minute. Fullerton's next game was at Rio Hondo on Friday the 13th, and it was a game to forget for Pam Lewin's squad. The Hornets lost their first game of the year to the Roadrunners by a final score of 4-0. Hornets sophomore goalie Kayla Ippolito was extremely busy and made 9 saves that afternoon, but unfortunately could not keep Rio Hondo off the scoreboard. Fullerton fell to 3-1 on the year after the loss. The Hornets needed to regroup and did just that, defeating Long Beach City College 2-1 back on September 24th. The Vikings found the back of the net early on as Allison Velaz put Long Beach up 1-0 in the 14th minute. However, Hornets forward Kayla Baserto evened things up at 1 apiece in the 25th minute. Both teams went scoreless up until the 84th minute in the second half when Baserto found the back of the net once again, giving the Hornets the 2-1 victory. That same week, Fullerton hosted Santa Monica College on Friday, September 27th, and came away with a 2-0 victory. The Hornets got their revenge as it was the Corsairs last season who ended Fullerton's year in the regionals. Santa Monica made a mistake early on, scoring an own goal in the first minute of the match, giving the Hornets a 1-0 lead. Then sophomore midfielder Victoria Arieta put the game out of reach, scoring a goal in the 87th minute to give the Hornets a 2-0 victory. Fullerton goalie Monica Balos made 6 saves that afternoon to preserve the shutout. The Hornets ended the month of September on a high note with a 5-1 overall record. Fullerton College began Orange Empire Conference play on the 1st of October and defeated Orange Coast College 3-1 thanks to great play of Ashley Sluka. The Hornets currently sit at 6-1 on the year and are ranked 15th overall in the latest CCC SIA poll. Fullerton has a tough October schedule ahead of them as they take on 3 ranked opponents in their conference, including the likes of Santa Ana College, who are ranked 8th, Santiago Canyon, who are currently ranked 6th, and Cypress College, who are 3rd overall in the latest state poll. A reminder, your Fullerton Hornets will take on the Pirates of Ventura College this Saturday at 6 p.m. Tune into sportsnetusa.net as Corey and Mark will be on the call. For Ryan Osborne and Mark Pavlovich, I'm Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of The Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK.